All right, let's talk about something we all do. Why can't we stop rewatching our favorite shows? You know that feeling, right? That magnetic pull towards something familiar.
I mean, you've totally been there. You're scrolling through a sea of brand new, critically acclaimed shows, and what do? You fire up The Office for the 14th time. It's like a reflex, right? You just land back in that comfortable, predictable world you already know by heart.
So, what's really going on? Are we just bored, unimaginative, or is there something more to it? Well, the answer is way deeper and honestly a lot more interesting than you'd think. It's not about what you're watching, it's all about the why.
So, let's talk about that familiar feeling. We usually just write it off as, a lazy habit. But what if it's not laziness at all? What if it's actually an active choice your brain is making for some really important reasons?
Here's the basic idea. When the world out there feels chaotic, maybe a little overwhelming, your brain starts searching for something stable. It's looking for a psychological anchor, a safe harbor. And, a lot of the time, that safe harbor looks an awful lot like your favorite show.
All right, let's actually dig into the science behind this. Because believe it or not, there are some real psychological forces at work every single time you hit play on that opening theme song you know by heart. This is about more than just entertainment. It's about regulation.
Okay, this is where we kind of flip the script on what people usually think. What some might call being lazy, psychology calls that emotional regulation. What looks like a waste of time, turns out it's incredibly mentally efficient. And it goes way beyond just simple nostalgia. It's actually a form of active self-soothing. And to get how that works, we need to look at a couple of key ideas. First up, there's this thing called decision fatigue. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Just think about your day. You're making hundreds, maybe thousands of little choices constantly. Each one takes a little bit of energy, like an app draining your phone battery. By the time you finally sit down at night, you're just running on empty. And choosing a new show, that's just one more decision you do not have the energy for.
And that brings us right to our second concept, cognitive load. Basically, that's just the amount of brain power it takes to process new stuff. A new show? That's a high cognitive load. You got to learn new characters, keep track of a new plot, you have to work. But a show you've seen a dozen times? The cognitive load is practically zero. It's the mental equivalent of slipping into your comfiest sweatpants. Your brain can just switch off.
Okay, so even though the basic psychology is similar for all of us, it turns out we don't all rewatch for the exact same reason. In fact, psychologists have kind of broken it down into 3 distinct types of rewatchers. So let's run through them, and as we do, see which one sounds most like you.
Yeah, there are 3 main profiles, and each one points to a really different core need that hitting play again actually solves for us.
All right, type 1, the decision avoider. This is probably the one a lot of us can relate to, and it ties right back into that mental exhaustion, that decision fatigue we were just talking about. For this person, their brain is it's fried. Done. After a long day of making calls at work, deciding what to eat, you name it, they just don't have the bandwidth for one more choice. So rewatching becomes this amazing cheat code. It totally bypasses the whole what should I watch debate, and it avoids that terrible risk of sinking an hour into a new show just to find out it's awful. It's a guaranteed win, with zero effort.
But hey, what if it's less about mental energy and more about managing stress? Well, that leads us straight to type 2, the comfort seeker. For this person, rewatching is all about getting a handle on their emotional state.
And to really get the comfort seeker, we need to talk about a hormone called cortisol. You've probably heard of it. It's the body's main stress hormone. When your life starts to feel chaotic or unpredictable, your cortisol levels can shoot up, and that's what leaves you feeling all anxious and on edge.
And that's where the rewatching comes in. The comfort seeker uses a show they know inside and out to create a sense of order when their real life feels messy. Think about it. They know exactly what's going to happen, no shocking plot twists, no stressful cliffhangers. This lets their nervous system finally take a breath and just exhale. It's literally a tool to create calm on the inside.
And finally, that brings us to our third type, the sanctuary builder. Now, this one isn't just about general life stress. It's specifically about unwinding from the pressure of being on for other people all day.
The sanctuary builder is someone who feels like they're always performing, being the perfect employee, the supportive friend, the patient parent. They're just always on. So for them, putting on that comfort show acts like an emotional reset button. Just hearing that familiar theme song can release a little hit of dopamine, creating this safe, private space where the social mask can finally come off.
So let's just quickly pull that all together. You've got the decision avoider, who's all about saving mental energy. Then there's the comfort seeker, who needs to lower their stress and anxiety. And finally, the sanctuary builder, who's looking for a private escape. See? 3 totally different motivations, all solved by the exact same thing.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why does any of this matter? Well, it's because it totally reframes this habit we all have. It stops being a guilty pleasure and starts being seen as what it is, a completely legitimate and even healthy coping tool.
So seriously, the next time you feel even a little bit guilty for starting that show for the 10th time, or someone gives you a hard time about it, just remember this: you are not being lazy. You are actively protecting your peace. You're managing your mental state. That's a good thing.
When you boil it all down, needing these familiar stories isn't some kind of flaw in your character. It's actually a really smart, adaptive strategy. It's your brain's way of creating a little pocket of safety and control in a world that, let's be honest, doesn't always offer much of either.
And so that leaves just one last thing to think about. After hearing all this, which one are you? Are you a decision avoider, a comfort seeker, or a sanctuary builder? Or maybe, just maybe, you're a little bit of all 3, depending on the day. I know I am.